Michael Jackson and Prince. Their pop music rivalry was legendary, and they certainly had a notorious love-hate relationship with each other over their extensive careers. But with competition also came admiration, and the two definitely had a fascination with each other, which was rarely ever expressed in public. But privately, the iconic performers would interact and on occasions meet with each other, generating much intrigue within both parties' inner circles, and generating hordes of speculation in the press. So here's part 1 of Michael Jackson and Prince's unspoken interactions, heart-to-hearts, and outright bickering that they had shared with each other, as quoted by the friends, family, and associates who were there at the time. Let's get into the detail. When Prince hit the music scene in the late 70s, Jackson was curious about the new rising star with funky tracks and a high-pitched sound. At the time, Hip Hop Weekly's editor-in-chief, Cynthia Horner, has been quoted. "I would give Michael copies of the magazines and he would see certain people in the book and ask me lots of questions about the artists he was interested in. And that's how he was introduced to Prince. After that, I started to let Michael listen to some of the Prince music I had, and he was intrigued. At that point, I realized that there was somewhat of a rivalry developing. Michael had been in the business longer, so naturally he didn't want to get replaced by the newcomer." The Bee Gees' Barry Gibb stated that Michael Jackson once asked him, "Do you think Prince is better than me?" A shocked Barry then told the interviewer, "Can you imagine that, after all he has achieved?" Byron Moore, a former associate of Michael Jackson, stated that in 1981, Prince had a song about mutual masturbation on his controversy album called Jack You Off. Byron goes on to say that Michael made comments and asked questions like, "What does that mean exactly? What kind of person writes a song about that? I mean, that's so private, isn't it? Maybe I should write a song about something like that," Michael said, teasing him. But Prince's musical releases were starting to have an impact on Michael's work during this period. As one evening during the production of Jackson's Thriller album, composer, writer, and engineer Brian Banks said Quincy came to them. He wanted this huge chord sequence. He said, "There's this sound that I've got in my head. There's this underground, this new artist that nobody's ever really heard of, but he's great. He's hot, he's got this great song." And he pulled out the album, and it was Prince 1999. And you know the opening sound on that. Well, that was the sound, that big bitey chord sound at the opening of 1999. He wanted that, but bigger for Thriller. And it is uncanny the similarity between the two tracks when played side by side. As stated in Michael Jackson, The Magic, the Madness, when Prince's first theatrical project, Purple Rain, was released in late 1984, Warner Brothers had sponsored an afternoon screening for film critics. The word in Hollywood was that the film, a drama with music, was so riveting. Michael Jackson was deeply disappointed that he had not been able to make a strong impression in films. Being so competitive, he had to see Purple Rain before it was distributed to the public. He arranged to attend the Warner Brothers screening. When the house lights dimmed, Michael slipped into the small theater wearing a sequin jacket and sunglasses, looking as if he were about to go on stage and accept an award. He sat in the last row and watched the film, not once taking off his shades. About 10 minutes before the movie was to end, he rose and walked out. Later, a member of his entourage asked Michael what he thought of the film. "The music's okay, I guess," Michael said, "but I don't like Prince. He looks mean, and I don't like the way he treats women. He reminds me of my relatives, and not only that," Michael concluded, "the guy can't act. He's not good." Then Michael let out a sigh of relief. However, Jackson's Victory album was eclipsed by Purple Rain sales. Liz Jones stated in Slave to the Rhythm that Jackson was incredibly jealous of Prince, especially of the Oscar Prince won for the movie, something Jackson longed to win. While Prince was in Los Angeles, Quincy Jones arranged for him to meet Michael Jackson over dinner at Jackson's Encino family home. Jones felt the two creative forces should know one another. It was a strange summit, according to writer Quincy Troop. They were so competitive with each other that neither would give anything up. They kind of sat there checking each other out, but saying very little. It was a fascinating stalemate between two very powerful performers. Prince is said to have made a few unsuccessful passes at LaToya. At the end of the evening, Prince gave Michael a gift, a box containing leaves, twigs, and a cassette of some satanic-like chants. Prince's tour manager Alan Leeds said that before they set out on the Purple Rain tour, it was a case of Prince wanting to see what Michael and the Jacksons were doing in terms of production, lighting, staging, and everything with the Victory Tour. They flew to Dallas to the old stadium where the Cowboys played. There was a feeling that while what they were doing was a very solid stadium production, there was nothing really cutting edge about the technology. Leeds also stated that Prince had a lot of respect for Michael, but he was mildly impressed with the show. Michael returned the favor by attending many of the Purple Rain concerts, 4 in a row to be exact. Amir Thompson, co-founder of hip-hop group The Roots, questioned why Mike was there for those 4 nights. He had already created Thriller. You've done the moonwalk, you've done the groundbreaking videos, and you've sold 1 million a week. You are officially in the Guinness Book of World Records. So why are you this curious to who is behind you? Then I realized that you can't be that successful without being competitive. Michael knew Prince was a serious threat. Tune into one of our latest videos right here, and also check out our online store for our latest pop icon-inspired styles. Thanks for watching The Detail. We'll see you next time.